Good evening and warm welcome to all the participants. I am joined by Ms. Richa Singh. Please welcome her. Good evening and welcome, ma'am, to
Thank
this
you so much.
159th session. This is an every Friday kind of a leadership conversation that we have been doing for more than 3 years now. And we are now on serial number 159. So that's where we are. Thank,
Congratulations to you
thank,
all.
thank you. Thank you very much for agreeing to speak with us. I'll quickly do an intro and then give it back to you for your opening remarks.
Of
Allow
course.
me to share my screen, please. Yes, these are WiseViews leadership conversations. We have a variety of speakers coming from different backgrounds and then trying to help us distill some leadership lessons from their domains. We are today talking about natural diamonds, a symbol of conscious luxury. This will be held by Ms. Richa Singh, who is already here. So this intro and your talk will be for about 25 minutes. After that, we have roughly around 40 minutes to do the Q&A. This is Ms. Richa Singh, Managing Director, India and the Middle East for Natural Diamond Council. And she has been the driving force behind the Natural Diamond Council, India's innovative and successful digital forward strategy, especially during the challenging times of pandemic. Under her leadership, NDC has emerged as the world's premier publishing destination for everything related to natural diamonds. Her professional journey began as a senior account executive at JWT, where she worked from 98 to 2002 in Mumbai. She then embarked on a 14-year journey at L'Oreal, where she held several key positions, including General Manager of L'Oreal Luxury from September 2013 to April 2016, General Manager of Matrix from August 2011 to August 13, and Marketing Manager from 2002 to 2011. Since October 2017, she has been the Managing Director of NDC for India and the Middle East, where she continues to inspire and lead with her innovative strategies. Ms. Richa's vision and dedication have been instrumental in highlighting the sustainability efforts within the industry, resonating with the passions and sensibilities of younger consumers. She has brilliantly introduced new ways of discussing conscious luxury, making natural diamonds synonymous with slow fashion. This is exemplified through collaborations with Vogue for the first of its kind virtual diamond festival and partnerships with designers at Lakme Fashion Week. Interestingly, in 2022, Ms. Richa spearheaded NDC's expansion into the UAE market, launching the brand in partnership with leading retailers such as Jawhara Jewelry, Malabar Gold and Diamonds, and La Marquise Jewelry. Additionally, she held the publication of the second edition of the Diamond Jewelry Trend Report, further cementing her role in growing the natural diamond dream. Ms. Richa's exceptional contributions have earned her the country's first Gold Cannes Lion in Media. She has also been recognized as one of Luxbook's top 50 India's most powerful women in luxury in 2021. Very good, congratulations. Not just this, her academic foundation is in business administration and management from the prestigious SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, where she studied from 96 to 98. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And once again, welcome, Ms. Richa, to this
Thank you.
leadership conversation.
Thank you.
Uh, yeah, thank you. I also take a more minute to introduce my co-panelist, Professor Dr. R. Prasad, Senior Director of Academic Wing at ICFAI Group. He comes with 3 decades of rich experience. He holds BTech from IIT Bombay and PGDM from the prestigious IIM Kolkata. He published several articles, edited books, and presented papers in forums in India and abroad. I welcome Professor Prasad. Good evening and welcome, Professor Prasad. And I'll stop sharing my screen. We are all ears to you. We want to understand this world of diamonds. And when you asked me where I reside, I said I reside in Hyderabad. And I didn't ask you back, where do you reside? I know
Hi.
you must be residing in places where you are mining diamonds,
Not at all. I
like
wish.
Africa and all.
I wish. I like to say I'm a traveler. Actually, my father's from the armed forces. He was in the Air Force, so that got the travel bug in. So I love to travel, any excuse to travel, whether work or personal. But based out of Bombay, my team and I sit out of right next to the Diamond Bourse, but not at the mine, of course. But we are be based in Bombay.
Excellent.
So I
Please start your opening remarks. Thank you so much. I'll go
So,
mute.
I can't see anybody, so it's a little disconcerting talking to an audience, just the two of you. So, Professor, you get the, in your eternal wisdoms that from the journey that you spoke about mine, the only thing I'd like to highlight is that I worked across mass business, then went into B2B, and the last was luxury. So when I came into jewelry, while it is the largest luxury category that exists, it also percolates the way a mass product does. And that's why the beauty of this industry. So a lot that was known, of course, but a lot I've discovered in the last 6 years that I've been here. But I will start from, please bear with me while I say a few things on consumers, generic consumer, not necessarily specific to jewelry, because I think that in this day and age when your media and your targeting spills over and the awareness, the boundaries are blurred between regions and product categories. It is nice to be, I keep saying that my competition is not another jewelry category, but it's travel, it's food and beverage, it is an automobile, it is anything that can distract my core consumer into buying something else. So we work hard to put our product category into a consideration set, into a basket of products, and it's not necessarily only jewelry. So to give that context, Aparna, if you'll just project for me, the whole idea is to, give a little context on consumer before I start to speak specifically on jewelry. So the topic that was given to me, and with this new age consumer, I think it makes absolute sense speaking with you, Sudhakar ji and Professor, that we speak of conscious luxury. I think being aware and trying to give back, or trying to follow products which give back, is becoming an inherent part of the ethos of a luxury consumer, and that's what we pick from. Aparna? It's a sort of a repetition, but the new age consumer is way more aware of what is happening in the world. I think if we think back to where we were as a young consumer who was looking to buy new things, when we started to work, when we started to get money that we could spend, we were still excited about what is available to us, and we were discovering things. I think that aspect of life, awareness, discovery, has become so much easier for the new consumer, the younger generation adding in, and hence they have the opportunity to become and want to give back a lot earlier than we started to. We had the desire to, but we may not have had the options. This is a consumer who's ready to give back. We just to pick on a few things, the new, while it's inherent and it is said, the new luxury is way more experiential. The experience starts from when you discover the brand online, to when you go to the store, to when you're at a third place, when you're traveling, you see it. So it's not just the store in your city that impacts you. It's a lot more in your travels, in your day-to-day experience that takes you, that you are aware of. And the luxury consumer is way more discerning and way more, I should say, expecting a lot more from the brands, because they have been exposed to a much larger variety of products and retail experiences. So while I may be in my city, I have been exposed to something in Champs-Élysées while I'm watching the Olympics, and I want the same kind of experience here. So the luxury consumer is a step ahead in terms of their expectations and what they think is their desire in terms of a brand requirement. The one thing that I want to highlight, and this I highlight because it's very core to our industry, is the individualism, the personalization, the customization. It's always been core. It's being offered by a lot of brands. So whether you get an outfit stitched, whether you have automobiles now with customized gadgets inside, or, depending on what you're ready to shell out and what kind of product category you're buying, the kind of customization is very big now and is very expected now. That's what differentiates. It's become an integral part again of the luxury brands.
So now you can also make it more personalized. You don't have to do it now when you purchase your bag. You can also do it in the future. You can do 2 different pins or add more.
It's just that there is a certain, like she said, you don't have to do it then. You're giving the consumer the opportunity of timing, what they choose, when they choose. You have an option of getting it done across country. You buy a product from one, get it customized in another. So it's what anything that makes a consumer feel special. The last thing I want to highlight before I get into my category is that there is what we call, our consumer has nano attention. You literally have, we worked on a side of what a day in one of our core consumers' mind was, whether it was doing Pilates or going for a fitness program to watching a movie to, going for a snack to meeting your family and watching cricket together. To, you must understand that within a day, the number of opportunities they have for brand exposure, or the brands they get exposed to and the categories they exposed to, they literally have seconds in which to see you, like you, absorb what you're saying, and whether consider that they want to come back to you or talk to you or explore you or try to, flag you for a later time. But you have only seconds to talk to this consumer. In luxury, sustainability is no longer a buzzword. It's become hygiene. It's not like you need to say, hey, my brand is this. This is taken as, quality, customization, the experience that you receive. Sustainability is becoming an integral part. A green brand or an attempt to go sustainable in terms of your initiative, in terms of recruitment, in terms of the product, where it's developed, what quality of product is used. So all of this, everybody, if they are not there yet, they are on the journey to constant evolution and improving their product to be good to the planet, to the environment, to the people around them. So just picking on a few things, they were, this is not, we were just trying to Google it up and see what are the brands talking. So whether it's EVs coming out, they've become a buzzword, and the waiting for the EVs proves that the consumer is ready to pay that extra to go. Maybe the second car as of today, but all the brands across are going. Now we are talking, not just the end product, but also across the supply chain, having making sure that they are doing good and conveying to the consumer that the brand they are with is doing good. So it's not just, it may not be a trigger to purchase today for an Indian consumer, but it is a feel good. I need to go back and say, hey, the brand I'm associating with, the brand that reflects me as a personality, is a good brand. Even if you look at our category, and the reason I pick it up is De Beers is one of the miners who funds us. But just to pick on, we sell diamonds. When a woman comes to buy diamonds, you do not think that in her mind space she's thinking, what is happening to the water scarcity in the world, or the biodiversity, or climate change is impacting, and she doesn't think diamonds, or vice versa. But we are actively working towards it. If you see what is being done, whether it's targets being set, whether it's the UN Sustainable Development Goals that we are following, what we do, what we are doing, and we are sharing with the consumer. For me, my favorite project in the whole year has been that, De Beers has a traceability project where they go back and they say, your diamond, we will tell you who mined it, who polished it, who cut it for you, and where it's reached. So it's not just the finished piece of jewelry, but even the journey that of a diamond is shared with you and exclusive. Your journey is exclusive to you because each piece has a different journey that it takes. So the consumer, while this may not today, for an Indian consumer, may not be the trigger to purchase, but it is expectation that if I'm doing this, is my brand giving back? Is my brand trying to be beyond just a commercial enterprise? And that's what I think reflects in all that is being done across luxury brands. Now I come to my category, and this is something that we, feel as a part of the category we take for granted. But diamonds are synonymous with slow fashion. The whole world is working towards saying fewer, better things which are good. Please understand, for our category, I'm wearing jewelry that belonged to my dadi or my pardadi. It's a first symbol, fine jewelry, because however much you wear it, it is not spoiling, can be worn again and again and again, is a perfect example of a product that, is not, there is no wastage, it's not thrown away. It is, if you do not like the setting, you can reset it in another way. Gold is reused, recycled, a diamond is passed on in the setting, it is passed on, you can restyle it, reuse it, rewear it. It's the perfect example of a product category that, we have images where we show the father and the daughter sharing a piece of jewelry. We show a mother on the left, the Ambani wedding has been most spoken about, but we have the mother and the daughter who wore the same piece of jewelry. It is something that is worn again and again with pride and, is reused. This is something no category can say today. A car, while it's passed on, a few may stay as vintage, will never be the same. Indians have traditions that are passed on. We get Kanjivaram saris, or I'm from the north, you get tush. It still has a lifespan. You open it, you refold it, you pray, you keep the borders, you attach them to make a dupatta later or add to another sari, but it does not stay the way natural diamond or fine jewelry, even gold jewelry does. And that's why we happen to be in a category, which is a great example of what can be. And I think it's our job as NDC, we have taken to say, a product category that we were just showing generations that have worn, but speak about heirlooms. And the first thing that a woman will speak about is jewelry. These are some of the pieces of content we did to remind the consumer. When you go out and ask the direct consumer, the direct question, the consumer says, yeah, it is something I wear again and again. I'm hoping my mother leaves this to me. I inherited this. It is one of my favorite pieces of jewelry. It is, there is a certain, lockdown was a perfect example where a lot of women were wearing their juicy couture track pants or doing Pilates, but they had solitaires in their ears because मम्मी की याद आ रही थी, and मम्मी ने मुझे ये इयरिंग दिए थे, नानू ने मुझे ये इयरिंग दिए थे, मुझे I just felt closer to them. And you realize that it's an emotion that is attached to a product, and a product that lasts forever. So I'm going to show you a quick, Aparna can start playing while I'm talking. We also did, fashion did this thing where they went out and they said 30 wear challenge, that can you wear a product 30 times? And you realize that jewelry can do a 30 wear challenge in 30 days, because you can wear, talk about women who wear their Mangal Sutra or wear their engagement ring, or even not wear their solitaires. There will be 20 days that you can wear the same piece of jewelry, enjoy it and still feel fashionable. You can repeat it and enjoy it. And that was the, we realized that we are in a perfect place. We just need to remind the consumer that they should be proud of the category that they are wearing and enjoying.
Women's are never going to be not something that makes you want to cry a little bit, but with happiness. What I've learned about jewelry through my mom really is how to value things that aren't trendy, how to value things and how to see things for what they will be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And, it's not about not living in the moment, but it's also about having a sense of vision about where your life is going to go and where you will be in 10 years and how you feel like wearing that piece of jewelry or handing it out.
So, we speak to stylists and they are always talking about, oh, this is in and this wedding has happened and everybody wants to follow this. This is what the celebrity did and this is what every consumer wants to follow, do. And we asked the stylist, which is your favorite piece of jewelry? And she laughed and said, I have this thing, I'm a Parsi, I have this thing from my mother, and she gave it to me. And through my 30s, I hated it because I thought it was so traditionally Parsi, that it is now my favorite piece of jewelry. So you realize that fashion has cyclical waves, but jewelry can be stacked up, stacked down, like I said, restyled, reworn. The consumer today has decided that, we've been working with the consumer to say jewelry is not meant for a typical Indian way, that it's not meant only for the locker. Jewelry is meant to be enjoyed. What can we do? Buy pieces that shift it, make it from a locker jewelry to drawer jewelry, something that you can wear every day, day to night, style up, down, whichever way, but something that brings a smile to your face when you look at yourself and say, hey, this makes me look good. And you remember and say, this is the time when my daughter was born, or this is the piece I bought when my, I got my first promotion there, or this is the piece that my partner gave to me when we had this moment. Or so there's always an emotion attached to a piece of jewelry. And we, wanted to remind the consumer of that. And that's really been our role, to say, we are a jewelry loving country. How do we remind the consumer what it means to them? And the consumer today has evolved from where we were. We had to pick and make choices. Today's consumer says, but I want it all. I have no desire to choose. Why should I have to choose? So if I pick on example, this is the week where I want to revisit a Hindi movie at the same time that I want to be watching Deadpool or, so it's as much Bollywood as I want to do, Hollywood. I want to go high-low fashion. I want to wear Zara, but I also want to wear Sabyasachi. Why should there be shame in wearing a 1,000 rupee product and a 1 lakh rupee product at the same time? It's not just that I want to wear a Chanel bag with a Sabyasachi lehenga. So there's no Indian and Western. I want both the brands. I want a mehendi with 1,000 of my family, but I want a date next to the Eiffel Tower with my boyfriend. So there is why should I give up on one versus the other? I want all the traditions. Like I said, I watch Oscars with as much curiosity as I do the Filmfare Awards. I don't need to choose. I love listening to Hindi music, Punjabi music, the same way that I want to listen to a Taylor Swift or Gaga or a new music that comes out in English. So there is no having to choose, and the consumer is going forward saying, why should I choose? I need to have it all. So that's why the experience, whether it's the exposure, but the capability to have it all. And I feel that it is my entitlement to have it all. We started with, no, you'll have to go back, Aparna, to that. We started with saying that what is our core that people associate with us. Red carpets, keeping in mind that the consumer wants it all. Where do we start? What should we do? This was the core to us. Celebrities were always associated with diamonds. Red carpet was always associated with diamonds, and the couch. So we tried to make the couch more exciting by saying we will speak not just to the women, but also to the men. And the men ended up making us go viral.
Do you believe diamonds are only a girl's best friend?
Not at all.
No,
Not in
at all.
Not here.
Though I whacked these off my mummy. But like a good son, I bought her bigger one.
Oh, such
Yeah.
a good city.
Hiru was so proud of me.
Hiru was very proud.
I told
In fact,
Hiru.
every day after he told Hiru, my mother, that he has bought diamonds for his mom, I think she's secretly wishing that I'm going to do the same. On my own 50th birthday, I think she expects me to give her diamonds. Sindhis love their diamonds, I want to tell you, dude.
So while we were doing the red carpet, we realized that, the consumer, like I said, wants it all, is exposed to all, is getting information from all ends. We decided that there is more, we need to go beyond the red carpet. And we identified certain things that how do we go beyond the world of entertainment and what is it that we want to speak about? So we started talking history, the magic, the mystique, the why diamonds came about. Please realize fine jewelry started where we wanted to give it to people, put it on, what we felt was special because it was an finite number. So it started with the gods. The gods were still date. Our jewelers make the first set for gods, and Lord Balaji pe chadta hai, we tend to make the first set of jewelry for gods. Then it was followed by royalty because the royals were people we put on a pedestal and said, here it is. It trickled to men, and then we women took over. So now there are still men talking about it. It is still the symbol of, an expression, gesture, biggest gesture, symbolism of love. We started to talk celebrities and pop culture. We did a piece where, which I'm very proud of, where we had the editor of Rolling Stones who wrote about songs inspired by diamonds and, why diamonds continue to, or why there are, as of today, we are speaking about diamonds at the Olympics. We've put it up today and said that why, whether it's the viewers who've come to see or whether it's the players, diamonds are everywhere. So we tend to pick on pop culture, which is currently trending. Of course, Ambani wedding trended for a while for us, and jewelry. We speak about trends, how we fit into the larger scheme of things, whether it is a particular look, whether it's a particular personality type, a face type. We tend to do a lot of work with publications, with stylists. We also share, as expected by the consumer, behind the scenes on what is happening with our industry. We have a lot of work that happens in Surat, a lot of development that happens, a lot of a way that this industry is giving back that we tend to share, not just at the mines. And of course, it is our role to ensure that the consumer feels confident, comfortable talking education. So at any given point of time, we are ensuring that while the consumer is seeing red carpet, she's also getting these bits of information, whether she's on her WhatsApp, whether she's on Instagram, whether she's YouTubing, whether she's being real. There is, there is information that is hitting her in a small, gentle way. This is all editorial. We're not a brand, but how do we make sure that there is multiplicity of messaging so she gets a well-rounded view of what we stand for? So just as an example today, it is not just an actor that you're looking at as fashion icon, right? You look at all the sports star, all the footballers, the kind of fan following they have, all the cricketers, the fan following they have, or even if you pick today, there are so many people in business that, you feel you would like to emulate, and they are the new modern Maharajas, means they are what exists. We as Indians tend to balance history with modernity. We do not forget. So while I keep saying that my prime example, Diwali is one of our biggest purchase seasons. We do pujas with as much panache as we do our teen patti or cards with. So, we need to ensure that the consumer enjoys both, does justice to both, and we are available for both. So it's not like, again, like I said, he or she doesn't have to choose. Just because I do puja doesn't mean I don't like to go out in the evening, or vice versa. So we do both things and do it with, elan. And then we, of course, ensure that there is education material that we cover. We do a lot of bite-sized content that comes out, which speaks about, things that they're asking for, but also things that we would like to share, which the consumer may not be aware of in terms of our industry. We also, this is while it's being spoken of, we have I'm very proud of the, what has been done by our industry in India. We, of course, are mined outside of India, and whether it's Canada, whether it's in various countries in Africa. But the amount of good work that happens in Surat or in our industry to give back to India and the communities is really commendable. And you must, if you ever get an opportunity, we would love to showcase what our industry does as well, whether it is solar power, whether it's giving back. We have one of our partners who created 100 lake project, was felicitated at the UN for taking care of water scarcity, just because he saw it in a village and they decided to adopt the villages and decided to do 100 lake project. I think it's the most commendable thing that they're doing, and it's got nothing to do directly with our business, but with the fact that we as a community want to give back. And the last, which I must come to, I started with saying, sorry, I digressed, but showing and saying that there is an experience. Today, the buzzwords in European luxury or in the traditional, what we classify as luxury, has been, how can we be bespoke? How can we take customization to another level? When a person walks in, the kind of experience that you give, when you address them by name, we know exactly what they've purchased, what they are evaluating, kind of a thing. And here you have our jewelry industry, which I must give them credit for. You walk in, the gentleman knows where you are, what's happening in your family. If a baby was born, somebody got married, you lost somebody, they will come and they'll get you the chai exactly the way you wanted it, and a chart coming from a specific place because Bhabiji wanted it, and they know exactly what Bhabiji wore at which particular wedding. We take customization to an absolute new level. And I think that is while the world is trying to move in that direction, our industry should be extremely proud of the fact that we've been pioneers in it. We don't speak about it, but a woman comes into a jewelry store and spends half a day or a day. She believes that the jeweler is her best friend, her family. We become extensions, and that is something, an experience that is not replicable. As a role, NDC is working very hard to say, how can we work with the industry to say we take the same level of quality of engagement and experience digitally. So we've worked very hard. We do a lot of things, small and big. It's a journey. I wouldn't say digitally we've reached the same level that we have at a retail level, but we are working hard, and that's something NDC does. And just to share, we went to, so that's been our focus in the last few years. And you mentioned COVID and lockdown, and that just helped accelerate this desire. So we have gone to I will end on my results here. That we, on a category which people think is so small and so niche, we had about 65 million visits in 1 year from consumers wanting to read only diamonds. We speak only about diamonds, all aspects, but only diamonds. We ensure that we showcase, because we are a B2B, we are behind the scenes. We make sure that the consumer gets to see the quality, the talent, the craftsmanship that exists, and we do it via brand collaborations. We showcase their talent, whether it's via PR, whether it's social engagement, video content that we create. So we've had a busy year. It is all earned. We are a not-for-profit body. The whole idea is to ensure that there is conversations around diamonds that are positive, a consumer confidence and a consumer desire that keeps accelerating, and the consumer continues to be in love with diamonds that the way we all are. And that's it for me. I'm happy to pick on anything. If I'll stop projecting, I'm happy to answer anything that.
Thank
so
you.
that
Thank you very much, Ms. Richa. It's a wonderful presentation that helped us go into the world of these natural diamonds, in the sense that it's a lowdown to the consumer psyche in terms of preferences, how it has moved from their preferences in the past to the current one. The current one seemed to be very, very different, and you have a great idea about what they want exactly. And that sense of entitlement, the sense of the feeling that they can afford all of it and not just one segment of it, is a very, very big understanding of the image of the customer or the consumer. I think these interesting facts built a foundation for us to go forward from here in terms of the Q&A, and try and understand the basics at one hand and set the context. And also, we can take few more queries from the audience directly in the second cluster. First cluster will be opened by Professor Prasad, and each of these clusters will have about a couple of questions. Since we have to close at 7:30, we'll try and do the best that we can. But I want to congratulate you that you have given us a great deal of knowledge about this world of diamonds. And one thing that I was planning to jot down while listening to you was why these diamonds are only for women and not men. But that is also covered subsequently by you. So that's interesting.
It is true. If you trace back the history, it started from the Maharajas. It reached the women much later. And today, if you see, the most organically read content on our pages is on men. And you'll realize that the curiosity that men have, and I keep saying the modern Maharaja is a Ranveer Singh. It is the, the guys at the Olympics, your cricketers. These are the modern Maharajas, or not just the rich, but the people who are achieving and you're looking forward to. And they are all owning back the diamond or the sparkle. So if you pick on any of these, whether it is Hardik flashing diamonds in his ears and coming and winning at the World Cup, or Ranveer on the red carpet, it's working for us, because the desire to have that sparkle, that something special is back in the man's mind as well.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll now request Professor Prasad to come in for the first cluster of Q&A. Over to you, Professor Prasad. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rao. Thank you, ma'am, for introducing a subject of luxury, and which we can then make it into, perhaps, make it suitable to understanding by many more who may belong to the masses. So we'll start with the fact that you have exposure in both, and I think that will help us to understand this whole context a bit better. And now specifically in diamonds, we also appreciate the fact that this thought of having the Natural Diamond Council itself is a big thing, and you're doing good work on that. And I'm sure that, with the kind of position that you have taken, a lot of things will happen in the future. So let's start with a question which is half personal, half career. Ma'am, what are the important decisions that you have made in your career? What have been the issues related to it, and what were the influences?
It's a much larger, I must say, it's a much larger topic there. But, as a woman, and I mentioned the background that I come from. For us, it was never a debate that I would have a career. And that was saying something, because when I was younger, it was a given that I need to be self-sufficient. What was my choice? And there are a few things which may sound a little feminist. You'll excuse me for that. But I believe that women need to ask. And because we don't ask and because there is no precedence, it isn't given. So I just think that till you ask, and now at this generation, at least in the corporate world, I feel there's no difference. And we keep saying that till you ask, you don't get. So for me, the biggest mantra has been you ask for what you want. You will either be told no, and you'll need to figure the way to reach at the level that you'll get yes, or you will be, there will be some caveat attached to it. The second is that you need to accept help as a woman, as a mother. And I must say that I'm a workaholic, but I have two beautiful kids, and I want to be as good as a mother as I am a leader. And it does take a village, and there is no shame. I couldn't do what I do unless my team stood here. Means Aparna's on call. She has a little baby because I'm speaking here today, or whether the team is supporting you. It is as much your husband who you take turns with. I travel a lot for work. We literally, I keep saying my biggest job is calendar matching, ki wo ghar pe hoga ya main hongi. And it does take a village, and you need to acknowledge there is no shame in asking for help, and it is something you need to own up. There is no what I have learned, and I must say it has come much later in my career, is from this new generation when they say they want it all. Why am I shying away from saying, sorry, I need to go to my kid's school, or I'm going to miss this presentation? Because there are days where I have worked full day because I had a launch, or, you have a P&L or end of the year that you've been working on a business role that there is. So I think that I cannot take credit for a great career without acknowledging that there was great teams and great bosses who made it happen. And you do need support. If I got challenging bosses or issues, politics at office, I also got that much support from at another end from someone. So you will have your ups and downs, the one thing that if COVID and the last 5 years or the role in this company has taught us is that you need to reinvent yourself. I don't think digital world reinvented. The three of us, at least on screen, are old enough that we know the world before the digitization. And, it taught you to reskill, upskill. And I think upskilling is much needed, and most people take it for granted. But I need to rediscover whether it is to be relevant to my kids or be relevant to my audience or to my team. And that reinvention has been, at a personal level, that has been the biggest challenge and the biggest excitement. It keeps you alive and keeps you young. So it's been as a woman, there are enough and more challenges. I wouldn't say there aren't. There are lots of places I still say that I wouldn't be accepted and I need to take somebody with me. And I'm open to that. I don't fight. I don't think we need quotas. I think we need to have great leaders, whether women or men, to support, and it should be your caliber that takes you up. So I'm here rooting for all sorts of talent, whether women or men. But I must confess, I run an all-women team. We are 100% women team here. So it's a balancing act. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I think this response will be useful to a lot of women, who don't ask, who have a lot of talent and who don't ask, which you have highlighted. And I think if you ask in today's world, a lot of people do support, and the acknowledgement will be obvious. And I think if you don't ask, that won't happen. So I think that's also a very important point. And finally, the point about reinvention, which I think women are natural at. And I think when the challenges come, it will automatically happen. Thank you for encouraging the women audience who see our program now or even later to delve into that sort of career making. Second query, ma'am, this is about the industry. And, last year there was a fall in the Indian exports for this sector. And the first quarter has also seen a fall. While on the other side, you also have experience to gold, which is last year seen some 62% increase. So what are the key trends which are impacting the diamond industry from somebody who is interested in that profession?
So, I want to highlight a few things, and I'm taking a consumer angle to it before I come back to a direct answer to you. But not counting jewelry bought as an investment. And I still said, you buy a car, you drive out of the showroom and the price drops. But you are comparing me to only a gold, which is also an investment product. So, here I have a product which will be worn again and again and again. While you have 100% usage on 100% of the time, the price doesn't drop. Does the price accelerate at the same pace as pure gold? It is not. I keep saying that we are a sone pe suhaga. Ultimately, I make gold look prettier, but I am set in gold. So it is not like we are independent of that. So keeping that in mind, this is not a category that is going anywhere. It is not, like I said, today's consumer, when you say luxury, I do not think you know, you have more experience, sir. You teach, and your exposure to the young audience is much larger. But I don't think luxury is directly comparable. That's why I said that whether today I feel that my biggest challenge with a 25-year-old is F&B. The amount of money they spend when they go out every evening or over the weekends is much larger. And that's why, for me, when you look at it, while we must look at gold, I also think that we need to look at all the other aspects and see that it is still a great product. मतलब मेरी माँ ने उसको 50 साल पहना, मुझे दे दिया, it still holds value and I can give it back. So did it accelerate? You say आपने अगर इन्वेस्टमेंट की होती यहाँ पे and it would have gone up 30, पर मैंने वो 30 साल पहना तो नहीं होता ना, या 50 साल यूज तो नहीं किया होता. I'm talking about a product which is used for 50 years and holds that value. So I think that the way of looking at it, we do not promote it as a pure investment. We say it's a product that is to be enjoyed. Investment is also an integral part, but you buy it first because of how it makes you feel, how it makes you look, how you're able to express your love. Everything else is finished, right? You do not have it with you. It doesn't last with you. This is something that lasts. From an industry point of view, I think that everything has its ups and downs. We are having a bad year, but when you say last year was bad, why is nobody talking about the year before last, which was the highest ever year? So see, the benchmark, you went from COVID year to an exponentially huge year, and then you have dropped. But it's, you know, in a larger scheme of things, we've evened out. We have this discussion, like I said, will the prices come back? Will it not? All the price discussions that are happening are of a rough product. It is not a finished product. No category, no industry today is talking and sharing with you what their cost of raw material is by raw material and karigari. You know, for me, the cost that is also added to it is the amount of karigari that goes. India has really evolved, and I'm very proud to say of the quality of caliber of design talent that we have, the craftsmanship that we are bringing, and the industry is working really hard to improve it. You can see it in stores when you go, the kind of quality that you saw across industry has really gone up. So that also is an added value to the product that there is. So you are never looking at a rough diamond and saying, iski price itni hui, because we end up being the largest cutting and polishing hub. It's a discussion that comes up. But where do you know how much each product under the hood of a car costs? Or, you know, when you're buying a particular FMCG product, bottle ki cost kya thi, cap ki kya thi, plastic ki badi ya ghati, nobody discusses. We discuss raw and rough diamond, and it just ends up being consumer not realizing that there is a gap between my raw material and finished product. So is it a challenging year? Yes, it is. Is anybody worried about saying, oh, Diwali? No, we had a great Akshay Tritiya. We are hoping for a great Diwali. But is it a challenge? Of course, that's my challenge as an industry to improve my rough and ensure that the pipeline is smooth and all. But from a consumer point of view, from a pure consumer point of view, the desire for diamond is high. The curiosity on it is high, which our numbers prove. The search volumes are. Are they questioning this versus that? Are they questioning price? Of course, that is my duty to explain to the consumer how price is. So is this an industry to join? I think so. I am extremely proud of this. I'm only 6 years old in this industry. I come from the FMCG world, but you know, you have never seen a more close-knit industry where everybody supports each other. It's like a miniature. We are true blue Indians. It's a large family. We party together, we play together, we work together, you know, the weddings are celebrated together, the sadness is managed together. So if you are looking for a mentor, if you're looking for guidance, this is an industry that is really open to sharing knowledge, and you have great mentors. I have received great mentorship, but you have great number of people. Also, this is the largest set of entrepreneurs that is ready and available to you. You know, depending on the report you read, you have 300,000, 3 lakh से 6 lakh आपके पास jeweler हैं. So whichever report you pick up. So there's a huge set of people who've gone through the journey are ready to. So you said, is it a great career? I cannot tell you. Is it design? This week, Aditya Birla has announced a 5,000 crore investment in, opening a new brand that they are releasing. Obviously, there is scope in this industry. As a consumer, this product is love and product category. So is there a future? Yes. Depends on what aspect, people talk about AI aa jayega to kuch redefine hoga. There will be some roles in the industry that will be redefined. But as an industry, we are here to say and grow and thrive.
Excellent, ma'am. You have highlighted the challenges. The reason for asking that question is also that when challenges get highlighted, then there are more problems to solve and there are more entrepreneurs who can join up, more startups who can come in.
Yes.
So, I think I have hardly time for a third question, but I'll ask it because, it pitches in a different direction.
Sorry.
Yeah. See, now a lot of what is given in the reports is that we are, India is pretty good as far as the diamond value chain goes into the cutting, polishing part of the diamond value chain. And also we have all these challenges that you have brought out. And you're in, in the kind of evangelist kind of thing where you need to see what the problem is and then encourage people to come in. So
Yes.
what specifically can be done for startups in India? I'm not referring to the established players or anyway looking at it, but from a startup point of view, which is the space where you think much more energy can go in, much more encouragement can go in?
I think that, it's in every aspect. I cannot say, please understand, the entry barrier does exist because our product cost is higher. It's not as easy as, say, a fabric, because the cost of raw material, like you mentioned, gold, and the pricing that there is, or a diamond is high. So it is always nice. I would say that there is a lot of opportunity. There are government initiatives where you can experience. I would say when you're picking on something, is it export? We've proven that this is one of the largest exports that we have in India. It's the thriving thing in ABRL. If I pick as an example, Carrot Lane, the way Tanishq is growing and the kind of standing that it has, the standalone guys, everybody, it's a, at every aspect there is there new age, like I said, AI coming in and we are redefining certain roles. Yes. Surat is thriving and there is potential there. So I cannot identify and say, ye role mein pehle. It also depends on what you have studied or educated, or what your education is, or, what you're looking at doing. But I think there is potential in all. Again, I am not at this juncture able to answer and say, because of AI, this role is going to get changed. But I think it's changing most of our roles. So we are having to upscale. But there is potential. I would say, check, test, work in some place before you, so you know that this is what it is before you invest in it, before you put your money or your investment, or, look for funding in a particular sphere. But you have possibility to experience all aspects before you take that decision, unless you come from a particular background. So sorry, this is not a definitive answer I can give, but if you have a specific case, we would be happy to guide and counsel.
Thank you, ma'am. I think it also highlights the fact there's quite a bit which can be done in this area. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, very much for your response. I hand it back to Professor Rao.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Richa. It's a wonderful conversation that's going on. You speak very fast, actually. You speak very fast and you explain quite well. And therefore, for a very small question, you have a paragraph kind of an answer. So that demystifies everything around diamonds for beginners like us. It's good. I have few simple questions, actually. These are also a half-line kind of questions. Okay. Long-term production of diamonds are declining as per one report of BCG. What do you suggest from the industry point of view? That is the first one. And then Asia has growing middle class as much as India has. How does the demand for polished diamonds at the wholesale and retail level fare in Asia? How will industry promote growth in Asia? So one question is around the production, the other one is around the market, and that market we assume around Asia.
I'm going to skip the first one, if you'll excuse me, because I'm not, all I can tell you is that there is a finite number of diamonds. So there is production, but if you tell me a specific period, like I said, we'll have ups and downs. So I'm not the right person. My focus is consumer and what we do. So I can answer the second one better.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm equipped to. I do not manage South Asia, but we do work with a few partners out of Indonesia. And so, it depends on a consumer sentiment. And I think if I pick on India and the Middle East, and I'm sorry, I'm saying Middle East versus Asia, but the potential, when you say it's a middle class, please understand that it is not the size of a diamond is very varied. So you start with, you could buy a product which costs as little as 6,000 rupees, 8,000 rupees, and go up to something which is worth billions. So it's not, for me, what is positive is that Indian consumer is an aspirer. We always, as a mother, I've done this, I want my kid to do a little more. I live here, I want to move to do this. As myself, I want to do this. I want my parents' life to improve. So whatever level we are at, as a consumer, as a mind space of us as Indians, I think we are very, very positive and very, we are aspirers and wanting to do more. So for me, I believe that diamond fits that role. It's a dream luxury product where you achieve something and you will buy. Now, it doesn't mean that it's $1 million product. It's not, because it's not a one product thing. So I think that middle class is, for me today, the middle class is the hardest working, and the new generation is teaching us that they are the hardest to celebrate. They want it. And COVID has accelerated this, where they're saying, we used to be savers, we wanted a house. Then we reached a place where the first loan was taken for a car. And now we are at a place where they say, let me experience now, because I want to ensure that I live my life to the fullest. And I think that we are giving you, we want fewer better things in life. We want things which hold meaning, right? You want to do something which holds meaning with people who are relevant to you. So your product category fits all of the aspects that the consumer is looking for. Something you leave behind. I want to leave behind a piece of me. I want something, jo mujhe, I use a dress, while I may love it today, I will forget about it 5 years from now, because it would have weathered. Whereas I still pick a piece which was given to me 30 years ago. I have a small ring and my mother gave it to me on my 16th birthday. And I remember that, I haven't forgotten. So as a potential for middle class, I'm sorry, middle class is extremely emotional, extremely aspirational, and it holds true for part of Asia. I'm not the Asian expert, but what little I know of Asia, the sentiment is the same. And over the last 3 years, what has worked in our favor, we want to express our love, not just to our wife or mother or cousin. We want to express our love. Diamond fits that. We want few things, because things which I can wear again and again, we fit that. We want things which give back, we fit that. We want things which hold value. I wouldn't even say accelerate. I'm not competing with a gold on pricing, but hold value, and we hold that. So it's a great industry. If you tell me mera rough upar niche ja raha hai, at a trajectory point of view, आप पिछले 10 साल ले लोगे, we will still be up, whether we are up 3%, 7%, 12%, depending on the year. But I'm not, I'm in, all of you, however old you are, you look at fine jewelry, we haven't lost it. The guy, my guard has fine jewelry, and the richest man has fine jewelry. It straddles. Size may differ, but as a category, we are in a great place.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. So what you said is essentially about the size of the middle class in India, and whatever trends are applicable to our middle class here in India is largely applicable to that in Asia. So that sums up the whole thing. Thank you very much. There's one interesting.
One caveat is the political sentiment. So China behaves differently. So I will not allude to China here, but which we have a little more. So, that sentiment apart, but I'm saying family, emotion, love, the fact that you want products which have resale value, which have hold value, have some sort of investment value. All of these sentiments are like the top 5 sentiments across Asia and India. So it's similar in that sense. Taste, design, size, different. All of Middle East buys 21 carat, we buy 22 carat. So there are nuances, but as a sentiment, yes, there is a lot of commonality.
Yeah, at a higher level, there is a lot of commonality. Super.
Yes.
Thank you. There's one interesting question that has come from one of the participants, and that is asking for throwing more light on natural colored diamond trends and upcoming market cap if you can, because you track consumers, you track size of the market, so on and so forth. So one is in terms of the natural color diamond trends and
Colored diamonds, is it?
color diamonds, basically.
So colored diamonds are extremely niche, and they're still going to be the pricing is substantially higher. The yellows are starting to get a little traction, but all the others are ultra niche. So it is a very small percentage of population that buys them. What is trending today in a much larger way in the last few years, it's not just this year, is fancy cuts. So it's beyond a round brilliant. So the standard has been a round brilliant where, the facets are the clearest. But if you see the last, because the consumer is moving to having something which is uniquely them or their personality. So we are seeing for the last 3.5, 4 years now that you see a lot more fancy cuts. So it's emerald cuts. All engagement rings of all celebs have been ovals or teardrop or, trapezoid. So you're seeing a lot more fancy cuts percolating down even to the middle class. So it's not just at the top, it was always there, but and it's percolating across sizes. So it's not just 2 carat or a solitaire, a big solitaire, but even the small sizes when you're having tennis bracelet. So colored diamonds still much lesser as a trend. It's there, but it's very niche. In India, we are seeing yellows, a few pinks get spoken about. Pink got auctioned and the buzz started, people wanted to know, but it's not really percolated down in a much larger. It's definitely not your first or your second diamond, right? Your entry into the category. It comes much later in life. The second thing that you asked me, sorry, was, I'm forgetting.
No, we were talking about the trends and you talked about the fancy cuts.
So no, so you had asked me colored diamonds and the potential for it. So colored diamonds is much lesser. We see fancy cuts substantially more than colored diamonds. And again, this is across. So if you see the collections coming, whether it's from the luxury brands or even from our brands, our jewelers, local jewelers, we have some most fantastic designs that are coming, which are taking cuts into account a lot more than color into account.
Great, great. Just a creeping curious question. What kind of fancy cuts that men prefer in diamonds? Just for our knowledge.
I do not have an answer to that, I must say, but if you see, I must say that the men can be quite experimentative in their jewelry. So while you're getting your basic squares and you're getting the baguettes and rectangulars, so they're not, what I have seen is a lot more enamels. You have a lot more black color coming on. We are getting a lot more bracelets along with, a part of our country was always into bracelets and chain links, but we are seeing it coming a lot more solitaires are coming out for men, different shapes again in solitaires, but still classic. It's not, they are not going into teardrop or pear shape or no. So they still have the basic squares, the rectangles and the circles happening, yes. But I'm seeing a lot more jewelry, a lot more stacking. You see a lot more around the neck. So yes, it is.
Good. So therefore, that brings me to make up another question for you
Anji.
and try and rub it in. That is, since you have an all-women team,
Yes.
you don't have insights about the preferences that men have with respect to fancy cuts. Just leave it.
It's a fair point. I must confess that we've never.
How would you handle diversity if you have all women team? Was the bigger question, of course.
We
Anyway.
did have a couple of guys. It's just a coincidence that it's at this point I don't have, but I happen to be in an industry which is 100% men, almost. So, we keep saying we are the ones who add diversity. So we happen to be in an industry where it is led, we see a lot more women coming into retail, but the rest of the supply chain is predominantly men. There is a lot of work that is being done. So I'm happy to add a woman's quota to the larger industry.
So nice. It's required. And sometime along the journey, you should advertise, we also hire men.
Yes, and I will definitely deep dive into what you said, the fancy cuts and men's preferences for jewelry. Yeah, why not?
Thank you so much. Mr. Anil Fernandez has raised a question, so I'm opening the mic to Anil Fernandez to ask the question if he is ready. Otherwise, any other member can raise hand and we'll take that question. In the meantime, just in case they're getting ready to ask the question, I have one thing. Is there any way to identify a blood diamond? What is this blood diamond all about? Please educate us.
So, I think that this is there was a time where the belief was that the diamonds were helping civil war in Africa, and that's why they were called blood diamonds. At this point, there is a body called the Kimberley process that is followed by if I'm wrong, 60 plus odd countries, all the countries involved in the process who follow this, and 99+% of diamonds are traceable. So please understand the land belongs to the government. The government tracks where the diamond goes. Also, the timing of where you could put things in your socks is gone, right? It's not a era of what is. If you were to tell me that uh, diamonds would fund wars, it's now you have bigger things that can, and it could all be digital and you wouldn't even know. But that was the way the word came about. But today, happy to say, and this is proven and validated by everybody, that 99+% diamonds are traceable and tracked. So if you see what I mentioned it in my presentation, that I'm extremely happy that De Beers has this project where they trace. They can tell you डायमंड कौन सी माइन से उठा, किसने काटा, कहाँ गया, कहाँ पे कट पॉलिश हुआ, किस आदमी ने कट पॉलिश किया, and you will get a printed access to that. And it's online, you can go. And so I'm saying that when you reach a stage of Aparna's pinging and saying that it's I said 99 point plus, she says 99.8% are certified conflict free. The 2% are not, a 0.2% is not traceable. So this, for me, this language came about 50 years ago, so it's not any longer. Also, it works in the government's favor because the land is, we give back to the community. Botswana government, if you read up on what is, it's one of the biggest mines in the world. And the way you give back, it's larger. This is as per UN WTO mandated Kimberley process. So it's agreed on by every country. It's agreed at a country level. It's not an individual corporate level kind of a thing. So blood diamond, no, I think it's just a buzzword now that is going around, but they're all conflict-free diamonds today.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Another thing that we would like to understand is some kind of general knowledge is that Surat is the hub for diamonds now.
Correct.
And are there any new emerging hubs either in India or abroad? What's your understanding about the hubs that are coming up?
So the mines are spread out. People are not aware. Of course, you have multiple African countries that have mines, but people are not aware that Canada is, some of the newest mines discovered have all been in Canada. And we've just done a tour of Canada to showcase where it is and, the indigenous communities that are involved in this part of it and how the communities have grown, what is happening, because it's in places which are far away from main cities. The diamonds come for cutting and polishing to India, and that is what the big hub is. I think we've done a great job of the quality of product that we have, and we are the largest hub. We continue to be, and I hope that it is so in future. Surat is really awe-inspiring and what work has been done, and it's a very new industry. All of this is, around 50 years old, 55, give or take. And, the kind of development that has been done by this industry is really commendable. You have to give them credit to how they have expanded, grown the human talent, because the karigari that is needed to cut a diamond the way it is cut manually or even by machine, but cut by hand to have equal facets is really stuff that in terms of human resources, I think it's one of the biggest things that there is. We employ roughly about 2 million people here. It is a very big part of what we give back to these many households are run by this industry, and it's a great story. I must say, this is something a made in India kind of proud story that people should know about, and probably we need to do a lot more that we have, depending on the year and depending on where my diamonds come, and like I said, COVID had a different change, but roughly about 90% of the world's diamonds are cut and polished in India. So this is one of our biggest hubs. If you say for cutting and polishing, we continue to be the best, and I hope that this stays. We have only grown and improved. Our industry is growing. We have I keep saying that proof of the potential for the industry is that the sons keep, the next generation comes back into the industry. And I'm very proud to say that all of the Diamantaires, see, your father may not have had an opportunity to go, but you had an opportunity to go into another field and study. They've all studied in the best places, and they still come back to this industry to develop, grow it. Means there is potential. So I feel that that's a reflection of what is happening. We are roughly about 5% of the country's merchandise exports. It's a very big number that we have. And I think, again, like I said, there's commendable work. If you say another hub, there is trading that happens. There is debate. Antwerp is, a hub that exists for trading. There's no cutting, polishing there, but Dubai is coming out to be a trading hub. So these are, not somewhere where I can vouch for what the policies are or what will grow or not grow, but these are the two other big hubs. US continues to be the biggest consumer of diamonds. So, by default, most of the brands, most of the businesses have some presence there because of the sheer size. Europe has a different approach, but it's, depending on, but we supply to everywhere in the world. We are 90% of the category. So there are exceptions. It could be a custom crafting, or it could be a large size single stone where you get a custom cutter. But otherwise, all the innovations, we've come up with new shapes in this industry. We have patented designs now. So we have done a lot of development. A lot of technology has been, you must see the kind of factories that we have, and they've gone green. I put it up, but I rushed through it. But, we are from a UN Sustainable Development Goals, we are as an industry way ahead of the curve of anybody else.
Excellent.
Any other industry, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. But there is I don't know really fully well about what I'm asking you.
Sure.
You can help me. It is about this point which one of the participants has keyed in, is that are natural diamonds worth the ethical errors made during their production? What are the ethical errors possibly made during production of natural diamonds? I really don't know. Can you explain?
I do not. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough. So what we'll do now is we have covered a lot of ground. We have covered a lot of ground, trying to understand the consumer preferences and the market sizes and the trends as well. And Surat as a hub is a very interesting development that we need to, as a very key issue there is, if it's not worth its potential, why the next gen comes back into it? That's a very interesting insight.
You should, it would be interesting if you ever want. I would be happy to pull in some of the younger Diamantaires on. They are, they start very early because, typical Gujarati business family, the sons start early, but they're well educated. They've got the exposure. They have tried other businesses in some cases, and how they are coming to help. The first one I went to Surat, and we were there for the G20 summit, and they were talking about, and they said, we have set this target for our science-based initiatives. And while I'm sitting there next to him, I'm Googling and saying, what is a science-based initiative in diamonds, but there are things that are happening that are not directly necessarily connected with manufacturing or cutting diamond. So it's, we tend to, there are some conventional things that we stick to, which is recycling of water. For instance, mining recycles 84% water. So there are some conventional targets that you expect, right? But there are some initiatives which are proactive, and the new generation is saying, hey, I need to do a little more to anticipate 20 years from now. So I feel that there is how we are bringing technology into something so traditional is really inspiring. Surat itself, the way they have given back, and I was talking about Hare Krishna, and I would, love to get them to talk about it, but they created 100 lakes. Nobody in India knows about it. They were felicitated in the UN, and it is so. Again, it's got no direct correlation to how it improves my business or efficiency, or so, the way this community has worked and said that there needs to be zero harm, or how we give back, or what we do. I think it's percolated all, and the industry is sort of taken it as a inherent part of what they do. So you should. I think that you should invite some of them. It would be a very interesting conversation. You can get all generations together. That could be a conversation, but everybody has a different take on future, and that's the interesting part.
Sure, we'll try and explore that. Thank you so much. I want to quickly ask Professor Prasad if he has any unfinished agenda on the cluster one. Would you like to ask any question?
Not as of now. I think you covered a good amount of ground, and roughly the issues and the opportunities are clear.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much. On that note, we would like to end, and I want to thank you, Ms. Richa, for this wonderful conversation. As I said earlier, it's a nice, engaging conversation with you. You explain very well, articulate so nicely, so that it's clear for all of us. And our love for diamonds would only grow listening to you. And I must also confess that while you were making this presentation, when Aparna was sharing the slides, I thought you were sharing some of your travel pics. But yeah, that's a compliment. Yeah, so thank you so much for doing this conversation. This is very different from what we do on a normal basis. But you've been a leader. You have actually invested so much of your energy into it and tried to promote, especially the engagement that you've created through digital technology and some kind of tools. Socially, you have engaged them, and that engagement means quite a lot. It's not easy to do these things in a luxury category like diamonds, and at the same time bringing in the perspectives of the younger generation and catering to their 360-degree requirements, an entitled requirement that they may have most of the times. This has given us a great insight into what the consumer is here. Here, it's a very, very different kind of person, but a little bit of that personality is seen in a few other consumer categories as well. But here, it is categorically very different in some of the preferences that they make. Hugely involved kind of decision making here, even though they are very, very young, but quite affordable kind of a requirement that they have or entitlement that they have. Super. Thank you so much for enlightening us over diamonds, natural diamonds. And thank you so much for doing this session. I have a request to you and your team. Your team has been quite patient in dealing with me. They have asked many questions, more than what I have asked you now. So, but that means that they wanted to make the session extremely useful. They coordinated extremely well. 4 ladies that tracked me and asked me questions. I say a big thank you to all of them. Falguni, Aparna, and 2 others. All of them did extremely good job. Thank you so much. Second is, I request you to share your PPT with me so that we attempt a summary. While writing a summary, we need that PPT. We will share a draft summary with you. Once you approve, we'll upload it on our archives. For those who missed the session, they go back and look at that text summary along with the edited video of the conversation that we have completed today.
We'll send
it. Third and the most important thing is we'll meet very soon in Mumbai or any other place, and we'll continue our conversations. If I have more questions from the audience, we'll try and share that on email, and let's see if you can answer that by email itself. We'll keep in touch with them.
Always.
With the answers that you would give. On behalf of everyone who have joined today, we want to thank you very much. This has been a wonderful Friday conversation for us. We look forward to having more discussions with you. Maybe I'll invite you to talk to some of the students in one of the campuses. We have our Hiranandani, we have our Mumbai campus in Hiranandani. We have in that building in opposite Hiranandani Hospital in Mumbai. And of course, in all the cities where we are present. We'll see. I think you'll be very, very inspiring the younger generation through your talks in the way you have actually led this organization. It will be very useful for them. I look forward to having those opportunities. And on behalf of everyone, thank you so much once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Prasad. Thanks very much. Thank you for having me.
Great. So ladies and gentlemen, that was about diamonds and that was about Richa. Next week on Friday, we'll have the 160th conversation on 9th of August at 6:30 p.m. Till then, delve into diamonds, go more into naturaldiamonds.com. They have several pages on social media, various social handles they have given. I think we need to learn much more about diamonds. Enjoy your diamond time and come back on Friday, 6:30 p.m. on 9th of August. Have a great weekend and good night.